15 days had passed in the cold darkness of space. The escape pod felt smaller every day. It was like being trapped in a metal box that was slowly running out of air. The four humans had learned to move very slowly to save oxygen. They talked in whispers to save energy. Hana worked with shaking hands on a machine she had built from medical supplies and spare parts. She had taken apart everything she could find to make a better air cleaner. The original system was designed to break down quickly. It was another cruel gift from the aliens who had betrayed them. "Give me that wire," she said to Minho. He handed her a thin cable from their emergency kit. They had checked every piece of equipment in the pod many times. They knew exactly how long each system would work. Minho had spent many days trying to make their distress signal stronger. He had connected their personal devices to the beacon. He took power from their tablets and communicators. The signal was stronger now, but still very weak. "Any ships nearby?" Jiwoo asked from her corner. She was getting sicker each day. The bad air and stress were hurting all of them, but she was the weakest. 3 ships came close enough for our scanners to see, Minho said. All of them ignored our calls for help. Through radio signals they picked up, they learned terrible things about what was happening in the galaxy. The news reports were full of stories about dangerous human expansion and the growing human military threat. "Listen to this," Yunho said, playing a recorded news broadcast. "The Galactic Trade Federation has voted to stop humans from using major shipping routes. Federation Speaker Queltar said that humanity's recent military growth is a risk to peaceful trade." "Military growth?" Hana laughed, but there was no humor in it. "We barely had any military before they started hunting us." The broadcast continued. "Several alien species have reported attacks by human ships. Trade Captain Vextar recently said that humans on his ship tried to sabotage refugee rescue operations." "Lies," Jiwoo whispered. "All lies." Yunho turned off the broadcast. He had heard enough. As a former soldier, he understood what was happening. "They're building a case for war," he said, "making us look like the bad guys." "But why?" Minho asked. "When we first joined the galactic community, everyone was happy to meet us. We were the curious newcomers, the peaceful explorers. That was before we proved we could learn quickly," Yunho replied. "Before we showed we could build better ships and develop new technology. They welcomed us when they thought we were harmless." Hana finished working on the air cleaner and turned it on. The machine hummed to life, cleaning their air a little better than before. It might give them 2 or 3 extra days of life. Not enough, but something. "I've been watching the communication channels," she said. "Most alien species have blocked the emergency frequencies that human ships use. Our distress signal is broadcasting on wavelengths they've decided to ignore." "What about other human ships?" Jiwoo asked weakly. "There aren't many human ships in the outer areas anymore," Yunho said, "and the ones that still fly out here are being hunted." As if his words had called it, their scanner detected another ship. It was big and moved with purpose. They watched hopefully as it came toward their location. "It's not answering our signals," Minho said, "but it definitely sees us." The ship was sleek and looked dangerous. It was painted in dark colors with red markings along its hull. As it came closer, they could see weapon ports and scanner equipment. This was not a merchant ship. Keth Empire Hunter, Yunho identified, military class. The ship launched a smaller craft toward their pod. They were going to be boarded whether they wanted it or not. "What do we do?" Jiwoo asked. "We stay alive," Hana said firmly. "Whatever they want, we survive." The boarding craft attached to their pod with a loud bang. Cutting tools began working on their hull. Soon armed Keth soldiers would be inside their tiny safe space. "Remember," Yunho said quietly, "we are refugees, not soldiers. We are weak and helpless. Let them think we're no threat to them." The pod's hull burst open with bright sparks flying everywhere. Keth warriors poured in with their weapons ready. They looked like upright lizards with sharp teeth and cold eyes. Their leader wore the rank markings of a commander. 4 humans, the commander said in broken trade standard. "Half dead already, perfect." They were dragged from their pod onto the Keith ship. The artificial gravity was heavier than they were used to, making them stumble and fall. The corridors were dark and smelled of metal and something else. Something that made their human instincts scream danger. "Take them to questioning room 3, the commander ordered. "The Empire wants to know about human military secrets." As they were pushed down the corridor, Hana saw a scanner display. Something was wrong with it. The readings kept changing, showing strange energy patterns at the edge of the star system. "What is that?" she wondered quietly. The Keith guards locked them in a small room with metal walls and bright lights. There was nowhere to sit except on the cold floor. Through a small window they could see stars slowly moving past. "Now what?" Mino asked. "Now we wait," Yuno said, "and we watch for chances to escape." Hours passed slowly. Keth soldiers came and went, asking questions about Earth's defenses and military technology. The humans answered truthfully. They didn't know much about military secrets. They were civilians, refugees, scientists, and diplomats. "You're lying," the questioner snarled. "All humans are soldiers now. Your whole species has become military." "We're not soldiers," Hana insisted. "We're just people trying to survive." The Keth didn't believe them. In their minds, humans were all dangerous, all part of a big military plan. The truth that most humans were still peaceful civilians didn't fit what they had been told. Outside their prison, alarms began to sound. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Keth soldiers ran past their door, shouting orders in their harsh language. "Something's happening," Jiwoo said, pressing her ear to the door. Through their small window, they could see other ships arriving at the edge of the star system. But these were different from anything they had seen before. Bigger, more advanced, and they moved with confidence that suggested they feared nothing. "What kind of ships are those?" Minho wondered. Yunho looked through the window and felt his breath stop. The biggest ship was massive. It was over 2 kilometers long and covered with weapons. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, and it moved through space like a hunter stalking prey. "I don't know," he said quietly, "but I think our captors are about to find out they made a big mistake." The ship's communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in clear, perfect trade standard. It was calm, controlled, and absolutely terrifying in its quiet authority. "Keth vessel, you are holding human civilians against their will. Release them immediately or face the consequences." The voice was human, and it was not asking. It was giving an order. In the prison room, 4 dying refugees looked at each other with the first hope they had felt in weeks. Somewhere out there in the darkness, humanity had not forgotten them. Somewhere out there, humanity had learned to fight back. The Keth ship shuddered as something powerful locked weapons onto it. Through their window, they could see the massive human warship growing larger as it approached. "They came for us," Jiwoo whispered through her tears. "Yes," Yunho said, watching the approaching ship with amazement. "They actually came for us." 23 days in the escape pod had almost killed them. Now locked in a Keth prison cell, the 4 humans faced a different kind of death. But first, their captors wanted answers. Commander Thekvar stood on the bridge of his hunter ship, Bloodhound of Keth. He was an old warrior with scars covering his dark scales. For many months, he had been hunting and destroying human ships throughout this part of space. "Tell me about the prisoners," he said to his officer. "The humans are very weak, Commander. Almost dead. Their escape pod was broken on purpose. Someone wanted them to die slowly in space." Thekvar nodded with satisfaction. "Good. Desperate humans will tell us their secrets. What about their ship's computer records?" The trade ship Peaceful Current was carrying refugees. The humans worked as doctors and engineers, but they might know useful things about Earth's new military. The Keth commander looked at the battle display. 4 dying humans were not a big prize, but any information about Earth's new weapons was valuable. The humans had changed in recent years. They were no longer the peaceful explorers who first joined galactic civilization. Now they built warships and fought back. "Bring them to questioning room 1, Thekvar ordered. "I want to talk with them myself." In the prison cell, Hana tried to help Jiwoo feel better with nothing but torn cloth and hope. The woman was dying slowly. Days of bad air and fear had made her heart weak. "Stay with us," Hana whispered. "Help is coming." "How do you know?" Jiwoo asked in a weak voice. "Because we're human," Yunho answered for her. "And humans don't leave each other behind." The cell door burst open with a loud crash. Keth guards entered with their weapons ready. Behind them came Commander Thekvar himself. He was bigger than his soldiers, with darker scales and the confident look of a predator. "So," he said in broken trade standard, "the mighty human warriors, you don't look very dangerous to me." "We're not warriors," Hana said. "We're civilians, refugees." Thekvar laughed, a harsh sound like breaking glass. "All humans are warriors now. Your entire species has become military. The whole galaxy knows this." "The galaxy is wrong," Minho said quietly. "Maybe," the commander replied, "but it doesn't matter. What matters is what you know about Earth's defenses. About their new ships and weapons. We don't know anything about military things, Yunho said. We worked on a civilian trade ship. Tekvar's eyes became thin slits. Something about the way Yunho spoke suggested military training. You're lying. I can smell the soldier in you. Before Yunho could answer, alarms began making loud noises throughout the ship. Red emergency lights flashed in the corridors. A voice spoke quickly over the intercom in the Keth language. Tekvar spoke into his communicator, then turned back to the humans. It seems we have visitors, he said. Someone is coming to see you. Through the cell's small window, they could see space bending strangely at the edge of the star system. Something huge was coming out of hyperspace. The energy readings were like nothing the Keth had ever seen before. On the bridge, Tekvar's crew worked frantically at their stations. Report, the commander demanded. Unknown ship, Commander. It's enormous. Over 2 kilometers long. The energy readings are beyond anything in our computers. Who are they? What species? The sensor officer's voice was filled with disbelief. Commander, they're broadcasting on human frequencies. The main view screen turned on, showing the approaching ship. It was a warship, but unlike any human ship they had seen before. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, and covered with weapon systems that made the Keth hunter look like a toy. The ship moved with deadly grace, its engines glowing like captured stars. Along its hull they could see the markings of the United Earth Space Navy. But this was no exploration ship or cargo hauler. This was a ship built for one purpose: war. Impossible, Tekvar breathed. Humans don't build ships like this. The communication system came to life. A human voice spoke in perfect trade standard, calm and controlled. Keth ship, you are holding human civilians against their will. Release them immediately or face the consequences. Tekvar felt a chill run down his spine. The voice was not angry or threatening. It was simply stating a fact, like describing the weather. Somehow that made it much more frightening. Human ship, Tekvar replied, trying to keep his voice steady. I am Commander Tekvar of the Keth Empire. These humans are prisoners of war. There is no war between our species, Commander. You are holding civilian refugees. You have 30 seconds to begin release procedures. You are outnumbered in this system, Tekvar said, checking his battle display. My fleet has 3 hunter ships. I am aware of your fleet's strength, the voice replied. 29 seconds. In the prison cell, the 4 humans listened to the conversation with growing amazement. Through their window, they could see the massive human warship approaching like death itself. That's the biggest ship I've ever seen, Minho whispered. Look at those weapons, Yunho added, his soldier's eye seeing details others missed. Each of those gun ports could destroy a city. On the bridge, Tekvar's battle officer was reading sensor data with growing alarm. Commander, their weapon systems are... I've never seen anything like this. The power levels are impossible. All ships attack formation, Tekvar commanded. Prepare to fire. Commander, I strongly advise against fire, Tekvar shouted. The 3 Keth ships launched their attack. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the human warship. The weapons hit its hull and simply disappeared, absorbed by shields that barely noticed the impact. Time's up, said the calm human voice. What happened next changed the Keth understanding of warfare forever. The human ship didn't fire massive weapons or launch waves of fighters. Instead, with surgical precision, it targeted specific systems on each Keth ship. Energy beams, impossibly accurate, struck the engine cores of 2 ships. They went dead in space, powerless but undamaged. The 3rd ship, Tekvar's own vessel, found its weapons disabled by targeted strikes that left the rest of the ship working. In less than 10 seconds, 3 Keth hunters had been neutralized without a single death. Keth ships are disabled, the human voice reported. As calm as before, beginning boarding operations. Do not resist and you will not be harmed. Tekvar stared at his battle display in shock. In 30 years of warfare, he had never seen such precise, controlled violence. The humans could have destroyed his entire fleet, but instead they had simply removed its ability to fight. What kind of warriors are you? He whispered. Small craft launched from the human warship. They were not fighters, but boarding pods. They moved through space like living things, avoiding defensive fire that never came. All the Keth weapons were disabled. The kind that comes for our people. The voice replied, and Tekvar realized with growing horror that the human commander had heard his whispered question. The kind that never stops looking. In their prison cell, the 4 humans felt the ship shake as boarding pods attached to the hull. Cutting sounds came from the corridors outside. Somewhere on the ship, human soldiers were fighting their way through to reach them. They came for us, Jiwoo whispered, tears flowing down her face. They actually came for us. The sounds of battle grew closer. Human voices speaking in their native language, working together in their attack. The Keth were fighting back, but it was clear who was winning. Their cell door exploded inward. Through the smoke came a figure in powered armor, weapons ready. The armor was sleek and deadly, marked with the symbol of Earth's military. The figure's helmet folded back, showing a young Korean man with determined eyes. Major Lee Suho, Earth Marine Corps, he said. We're here to take you home. Behind him, more Marines secured the corridor. The 4 civilians looked at their rescuers with wonder and relief. How did you find us? Yunho asked. Suho smiled grimly. We never stopped looking for our people, and we never will. The trade ship. Peaceful current moved slowly through the purple clouds of the Andorian nebula. Its metal hull was covered in burn marks and holes from recent battles. The air inside smelled like burning oil and fear. This was not a safe place to be. Lihana wiped sweat from her face as she worked in the medical bay. Around her, dozens of wounded aliens lay on old beds and blankets. They came from many different worlds, but they all had one thing in common. They were running from the Keth Empire. A small, furry creature with big eyes grabbed Hana's arm. It was bleeding from a deep cut on its leg. Hana cleaned the wound and put a healing patch over it. The creature made soft sounds that might have been thank you. There, Hana said gently. That should feel better soon. The creature curled up and closed its eyes. Hana looked around the crowded room. So many hurt people. So much pain. She was only one person, but she had to try to help them all. Hana was human. There were only 4 humans on the ship. The rest of the crew came from 6 different alien worlds. Most of them had worked together for years, moving cargo and refugees between the outer colonies. The ship's captain was called Vextar. He looked like a giant snake with arms and wore a blue uniform. His yellow eyes were always watching, always thinking. Hana didn't trust him, but she needed his ship to help the refugees. In the engine room, Park Minho was trying to fix the power systems. Everything was old and breaking down. Sparks flew from broken cables as he worked. Sweat dripped into his eyes, making it hard to see. Minho heard voices in the corridor outside. He stopped working and listened carefully. One voice belonged to Captain Vextar. The other voice he didn't recognize. The humans are becoming dangerous, Vextar said in a low voice. Their military grows stronger every day. Soon they will be a threat to all of us. But Captain, said the other voice, these humans have done nothing wrong. The female helps our wounded. The male keeps our engines running. That doesn't matter, Vextar replied coldly. I have received new orders from the Trade Federation. All humans must be removed from deep space operations. They cannot be trusted anymore. Minho felt his blood turn cold. He pressed himself against the wall, trying to hear more. What about the refugees they help? Asked the other voice. The refugees will be fine without them, Vextar said. Humans are too unpredictable, too quick to violence. The galaxy will be safer without them. In the main cargo bay, Kim Jiwoo was teaching alien children how to speak trade standard. She had been a diplomat before the war started. Now she just tried to make scared children feel safe. A young alien with blue skin and 4 arms tugged on her sleeve.
Teacher Jiwoo, are we safe now?
Jiwoo smiled, but worry filled her heart. Yes, little one. We are all safe here. But she wasn't sure if that was true. Some of the crew members had been acting strange lately. They whispered in corners and avoided looking at the humans. Near the medical bay, Choi Yunho checked the ship's security cameras. He had been a soldier once, fighting in the border wars against raiders. Now he helped Hana take care of sick and wounded refugees. But his soldier training made him notice things others missed. The crew was planning something. He could see it in the way they moved, the way they talked. Something bad was coming. The ship's communication system suddenly came to life. This is Colony Ship New Soul, said a voice. We have engine failure and need help. Please respond. Vextar's voice answered over the intercom. This is Peaceful Current. We are coming to help you. But Yunho noticed something wrong with the captain's voice. It was cold, not concerned. And why would a human colony ship be in this dangerous area? Minho left the engine room and found Hana in the medical bay. Something is wrong, he whispered. I heard the captain talking. The Trade Federation wants all humans removed from space. Hana stopped bandaging a patient. What does that mean? It means they want to get rid of us, Minho said quietly. All of us. Before Hana could respond, the ship shook hard. Through the small windows, they could see another ship approaching. It was long and dark, with red markings that meant only one thing. That's a Keth Raider ship, Yunho said, appearing beside them. He had seen those markings before in the war. This is a trap. The ship's lights turned red. Alarms started making loud noises. Over the intercom, Vextar's voice said, "All humans report to Cargo Bay 7 immediately." The 4 humans looked at each other with fear. Cargo Bay 7 was empty. There was no good reason to go there. "They're going to kill us," Jiwoo said as she ran up to them. Behind her, alien crew members were locking all the refugee quarters. "They said it was for safety, but I saw weapons." "The escape pods," Yunho said. His military training took over. "We need to get to the escape pods now." They ran through the ship's corridors as crew members chased them. The 4 humans had no weapons. They only had each other and the will to survive. Laser blasts hit the walls behind them as they ran. "There!" Hana pointed to an escape pod. They climbed inside just as more shots rang out. Minho started the pod's systems, but something was wrong. "The navigation is broken," he said, "and the life support is set to minimum power." They sabotaged it, Yunho realized. They want us to die slowly in space. Through the pod's small window, they watched the peaceful current fly away. The Keth Raider ship attached itself to the trade vessel. They could see alien crew members working together, dividing up the refugees like animals. "Why?" Jiwoo asked with tears in her eyes. "We helped them. We saved their people." "Because we're human," Hana said bitterly, "and apparently that's become a crime." The pod drifted in empty space. Around them was nothing but darkness and stars. The nearest safe planet was weeks away. Their oxygen would last maybe 12 days if they were very careful. Minho checked the pod's computer and found something that made him sick. Messages between Vextar and Federation officials talked about the human problem. Orders to isolate human ships, rewards for crews who got rid of human workers. "The whole galaxy has turned against us," Yunho said quietly. Hana began checking their supplies. Very little food. Not much water. The air recycler was old and not working well. The distress beacon was broadcasting, but it was weak. "Maybe another human ship will find us," Jiwoo said with hope. "Human ships don't come to this area anymore," Yunho replied. "They've been banned from most space routes." Outside their tiny pod, space was vast and empty. They were 4 humans alone in a galaxy that no longer wanted them. The pod systems made quiet humming sounds, counting down the hours until they would run out of air. "We're going to die out here," Minho said. "Maybe," Hana replied, still working on the broken systems. "But if we do, someone needs to know what happened to us." She began recording a message in the pod's computer. A record of their betrayal, proof of what the galaxy had done to them. Maybe someday someone would find it and learn the truth. As the pod drifted deeper into empty space, the 4 humans tried to make themselves comfortable. Around them, the galaxy continued as if nothing had happened, as if 4 human lives meant nothing at all. But somewhere in the darkness, other human ships were still flying. And some of those ships were very different from the peaceful traders the galaxy remembered. Some of those ships were built for war. The human warship UES Indomitable was a monument to humanity's change. 2 kilometers of hardened steel and advanced technology, it showed what the galaxy had forced humanity to become. Gone were the days of peaceful exploration ships and simple cargo haulers. Captain Seo Tae-hyung stood on the bridge, watching the battle displays with calm eyes. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency. These were not the frightened refugees that the galaxy had been hunting. These were warriors, shaped by betrayal and made strong by necessity. "Status report," Tae-hyung said. 3 Keth ships disabled, Captain," reported Commander Nam Yoonji from the weapon control station. "No deaths on either side. Marine boarding teams have secured the target ship. And our people? 4 human civilians recovered alive. They're being brought aboard now for medical treatment." Tae-hyung nodded. Every human life mattered. That was the principle that had built ships like the Indomitable. When the galaxy decided that humans were disposable, humanity had responded by becoming indisposable. Lieutenant Colonel Yoon Seok-jin approached the captain's chair. "Sir, we're receiving communications from multiple alien ships throughout the system. They want to know who we are and what we plan to do." "Tell them we are the United Earth Space Navy," Tae-hyung replied. And our plan is to collect our citizens and leave in peace. Some of them are demanding we give back the Keth ships we disabled. They can demand whatever they like, the captain said quietly. But they attacked human civilians first. Actions have consequences. In the ship's medical bay, Dr. O'Hiegin worked quickly to treat the 4 rescued refugees. 23 days in a broken escape pod had hurt their bodies badly. Lack of water, food, and good air had left them weak and sick. How are they, doctor? Asked Major Suho as he watched the medical team work. They'll live, Dr. Hiegin replied, checking Jiwoo's heart. But it was close. Another day or two and we would have been too late. Hana looked up from her medical bed at the clean, advanced medical bay around her. This ship, it's incredible. When did humans build something like this? When we had to, Suho answered simply. When the galaxy made it clear that nobody else was going to protect human lives. Minho was staring at the technical displays visible through the medical bay's windows. The technology, it's beyond anything I've seen. How long have you been building ships like this? 3 years, Dr. Hijin said as she worked. Since the Rigel Station massacre. Since the galaxy decided we were too dangerous to live among them. The 4 refugees looked at each other with understanding. They remembered Rigel Station, a human research facility studying faster-than-light communications. The station had been destroyed by unknown raiders, but everyone knew it was a coordinated attack by multiple alien species. How many died at Rigel? Yunho asked quietly. 12,000, Suho replied. Scientists, engineers, their families. They were building technology that would have helped everyone. Instead, they were murdered because they were human. That's when everything changed, Dr. Hijin added. Earth's government realized that peaceful living together was no longer possible. If the galaxy wanted to see us as a military threat, then we would become exactly that. On the bridge, Captain Taehyung was receiving reports from across human space. The rescue of 4 civilians might seem small, but it was part of a larger pattern. Human ships were appearing throughout the galaxy, no longer hiding or apologizing for existing. Captain, Commander Yunji reported, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. On screen, Admiral Kim appeared on the main display. She was an elderly woman with silver hair and eyes like steel. Captain Taehyung, status report. 4 civilians recovered successfully, Admiral. 3 Keth ships disabled but undamaged. No casualties. Excellent. And the galaxy's response? Multiple alien fleets are moving toward this system. They seem concerned about our presence here. Admiral Kim smiled coldly. Good. It's time they learned to be concerned. Proceed with Protocol 7. Understood, Admiral. Protocol 7 was humanity's new policy of total honesty. No more hiding, no more apologizing, no more pretending to be harmless. If the galaxy wanted to fear humanity, then humanity would give them good reason. Open all communication channels, Taehyung commanded. All frequencies, all languages. I want every species in this sector to hear this. The communication system activated, broadcasting his message across dozens of star systems. On hundreds of worlds, alien leaders would soon be listening to humanity's new voice. This is Captain Seo Taehyung of the United Earth Space Navy, he began. Today, 4 human civilians were rescued from certain death. They had been betrayed by those they trusted, abandoned by those they had helped, and left to die in the empty space. Throughout the galaxy, alien commanders stopped what they were doing to listen. This was not the voice of the peaceful humans they remembered. This was something new, something that sent chills down non-human spines. For too long, humanity has been told we are unwelcome in this galaxy. We have been called dangerous, aggressive, militaristic. Today, I want to address those accusations directly. On the bridge of the Indomitable, the crew watched as more alien ships appeared at the edge of the system. Dozens of vessels from multiple species, all drawn by curiosity and fear. You call us dangerous? Taehyung continued. You are correct. We are dangerous to those who harm innocent people. You call us aggressive? You are correct. We are aggressive in protecting our citizens. You call us militaristic? You are correct. We have become exactly what you forced us to become. In the medical bay, the 4 rescued civilians listened to their captain's words with growing amazement. This was not the humanity they remembered, not the eager, peaceful species that had first joined galactic civilization. But understand this, Taehyung's voice carried across the stars. We did not choose this path. You chose it for us. When you decided that human lives were disposable, you created the very threat you claim to fear. The transmission was being recorded on every world, analyzed by every military intelligence service in known space. Humanity was no longer hiding its capabilities or its intentions. From this day forward, let it be known throughout the galaxy, every human life has value. Every human citizen will be protected. We will travel to the farthest reaches of space to bring our people home. We will face any fleet, fight any enemy, pay any price to ensure that no human dies alone and forgotten. Commander Thekvar, imprisoned aboard his own disabled ship, listened to the broadcast with growing understanding. The humans had not just rescued their people. They had sent a message to every species in the galaxy. The age of easy prey is over, Captain Taehyung concluded. Humanity has learned to show its teeth. Those who respect this will find us fair and honorable allies. Those who do not will discover exactly how dangerous we have become. The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. In the medical bay, Jiwoo reached out weakly to touch Major Suho's armored hand. "Thank you," she whispered, "for coming for us. For not giving up." "We never give up on our own," Suho replied. "That's what makes us human. That's what makes us strong." Outside the ship's windows, the alien fleets kept their distance. They had come expecting to find easy prey or primitive humans to intimidate. Instead, they found themselves facing a species that had learned the harsh lessons of survival. The Indomitable powered up its quantum drive, preparing to leave. As it did, the disabled Keth ships were released. Their crews were alive and unharmed, but they would carry the memory of this encounter for the rest of their lives. "Take us home," Captain Taehyung commanded. The massive warship engaged its drive and disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind a galaxy that had just learned that humanity would never again be victims. The medical bay of the UES Indomitable was unlike anything the four rescued humans had ever seen. Clean white walls, advanced healing machines, and the soft hum of perfectly working life support systems. After weeks of breathing bad air and drinking little water, it felt like heaven. Dr. Oh Hee-jin finished checking Jiwoo, the last of the four refugees to be treated. "Your heart is getting stronger," she said with a kind smile. "Another few days and you would not have survived." "But we did survive," Hana said from the next bed. "Thanks to all of you." Through the large windows of the medical bay, they could see space itself bending around the ship as it traveled through hyperspace. The technology was far beyond what they remembered from human ships just a few years ago. "How did we advance so quickly?" Minyo asked, studying the displays that showed the ship's amazing systems. "Necessity," Dr. Hee-jin replied sadly. "When your species faces death, you either grow stronger or die. We chose to grow stronger." Major Suho entered the medical bay. He had taken off his powered armor and wore a simple uniform. Without the scary military gear, he looked younger, almost like the peaceful humans they remembered. "The captain wants to speak with you," he said, "but only when you're ready." "There's no hurry." "We're ready now," Yunho said, sitting up in his bed. "We need to understand what's happened to our people." They were brought to a comfortable meeting room where Captain Taehyung waited. He was a middle-aged man with kind eyes that couldn't quite hide the steel beneath. Behind him, the stars streaked past as the ship traveled faster than light itself. "Welcome aboard the Indomitable," he said simply. "I'm sorry it took us so long to find you." "You found us at all," Jiwoo said weakly. "That's what matters." The captain turned on a holographic display that showed the galaxy around them. Red zones marked areas where humans were no longer welcome. Yellow zones showed dangerous space. The areas of green, where humans could travel safely, had become very small. "This is what the galaxy looks like now for our people," Taehyung explained. 3 years ago, after Rigel Station, everything changed. The Trade Federation voted to stop human access to most systems. Several species formed hunting groups to destroy human ships. "But why?" Hana asked. "When we first joined the galactic community, everyone was happy to meet us." "They were happy when they thought we were harmless," the captain replied. "But humans learn quickly. We adapt fast. We build better tools, develop new technology. That made some species nervous." Commander Yunji joined them, carrying data tablets. "Show them the Titan yards," she suggested. The holographic display changed, showing massive construction facilities around Earth's moon. Dozens of ships like the Indomitable were being built, along with smaller vessels of designs they didn't recognize. "In 3 years, we've built the most advanced fleet in the galaxy," Taehyung said. Not because we wanted to, but because we had to. Every human ship that disappeared, every colony that went silent, every family that was lost to raiders, all of it pushed us to become something new. Something stronger, Commander Yunji added. The ship's communication system activated. "Captain to the bridge," came the announcement. "We're receiving multiple priority transmissions." "Duty calls," Taehyung said with a slight smile. "Would you like to see how the galaxy is responding to your rescue?" They made their way to the bridge, a vast command center filled with displays and control stations. Through the main view screen, they could see stars rushing past as the ship traveled through hyperspace. But the important action was happening on the communication displays. "Report," the captain commanded as he took his chair. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy," the communications officer reported. "News networks, government officials, military commands, everyone wants to know about the Keth incident. And our people? Human colonies throughout known space are celebrating. The rescue has become a symbol, proof that Earth hasn't abandoned its citizens." One of the screens showed news broadcasts from various worlds. The 4 refugees watched in amazement as their rescue became the lead story across multiple systems. "Look at that," Minho pointed to one display. "The Galactic Trade Federation is calling an emergency meeting." "They're scared," Commander Yunji observed with satisfaction. "For the first time in years, they're afraid of what humanity might do." Captain Taehyung studied the incoming messages. Some were threats, others were attempts at negotiation, but many were requests from other human communities asking for help or protection. "Sir," the tactical officer announced, "we're detecting multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace along our route. Alien vessels, various species. Are they hostile?" Taehyung asked calmly. "No, sir, they're keeping their distance. It appears they're escorting us, or perhaps watching." Through the view screen, they could see the flashes of other ships coming out of hyperspace. Dozens of alien vessels were following the Indomitable, but none came close enough to threaten. "They want to see what we'll do next," the captain realized. "What will we do next?" Hana asked. Taehyung was quiet for a long moment, studying the tactical displays and communication feeds. Finally, he spoke. "We're going to show them who we really are," he said. "Not the monsters they've painted us as, and not the helpless victims they wanted us to remain. We're going to show them what humanity becomes when pushed to the edge." He activated the ship's quantum communication array, the same system that had broadcast his earlier message, but this time the signal would be even stronger, reaching every inhabited system in the galaxy. "This is Captain Seo Taehyung of the United Earth Space Navy," he began. 4 days ago, 4 human civilians were left to die in deep space by those they had trusted and helped. Today, they are safe aboard this ship, receiving the medical care they need. Throughout the galaxy, billions of beings stopped what they were doing to listen. Some of you will see this rescue as proof of human aggression. Others will call it an act of war. You are wrong on both counts. This was simply what any civilized species would do for its people. In the medical bay earlier, Jiwoo had been too weak to speak much. Now, listening to the captain's words, she felt something she hadn't experienced in weeks: pride in being human. "Humanity did not choose the path of isolation and militarization," Taehyung continued. "It was forced upon us by those who decided we were too dangerous to live among them. But if you wanted us to become dangerous, you have succeeded beyond your wildest fears. The alien ships following them kept their distance, but more kept appearing. Word was spreading across the galaxy that something historic was happening. From this moment forward, let every species know this truth: humanity will protect its own. We will rescue the stranded, defend the innocent, and shelter the weak. Not just humans, but anyone who needs help and asks for it." Yunho, the former soldier, understood the brilliance of the captain's words. He wasn't just talking to alien governments. He was speaking to every refugee, every minority, every group that had been abandoned by their own people. "We offer our hand in friendship to those who seek peace. We offer our protection to those who need shelter. But to those who prey upon the innocent, who abandon the helpless, who leave people to die in the cold of space, know that we are coming. And we will not stop until every last human is safe." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence once again. "Captain," the communications officer reported, "we're receiving thousands of messages. Some from human colonies, but many from non-human groups requesting protection or assistance. And the government responses? Mixed, sir. Some species are calling for immediate military action against us. Others are requesting diplomatic meetings. The Trade Federation wants to negotiate. Taehyung smiled grimly. Too late for negotiations. They made their choice when they decided human lives were disposable. As the Indomitable continued toward Earth, the 4 rescued refugees looked out at the stars with new understanding. Humanity had been forced to change, forced to become something harder and more dangerous than they had ever wanted to be. But they had not lost their compassion. They had not abandoned their principles. They had simply learned to defend them with strength instead of hoping others would respect their weakness. We're going home, Hana said quietly, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. Yes, Captain Taehyung replied, and the galaxy will never be the same. Behind them, the alien ships continued to follow at a respectful distance. They had come to observe humanity's response to provocation. What they saw instead was something far more disturbing. A species that had learned not just to fight back but to fight for others. The age of easy prey was indeed over. In its place had risen something the galaxy had never seen before. Humans who refused to let anyone suffer alone in the dark. And that, perhaps, was the most terrifying thing of all.